What's going on, guys? It is Carly here bringing you day number 3 of my 31 Days of Horror 2021. Sorry about the lighting. I'm in front of a window and it's very bright right now, but yeah, this is unfortunately when I had the time to record this in the most convenient spot, so we shall go with it. But today I'm going to be talking about a film in my Universal box set collection. Yes, I still have not finished that, but we're getting through it. We are getting through it, and that is a movie in the Dracula set here, and it is going to be House of Dracula, which is actually the final one out of, the movies in this bad boy that I had to watch. So I've seen Dracula, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, but had not seen House of Dracula, because at one point I kind of just stopped going. Well, I was going in order by the years these came out, and then I started going in order by the Blu-rays. It's kind of a big old mess, so I couldn't even remember which ones I watched, but did not see House of Dracula in 1945, so that is what we are talking about here today. And that movie basically is about, you have the Wolfman, who goes to this doctor to try to, rid himself of becoming the Wolfman because he just can't, he can't stand it, he can't take it. You see that in the original Wolfman movie. It's not something that he is proud of or wants to be, he just wants to be normal. So he goes to this doctor, and at the same time you have Count Dracula, who's also going to the same doctor, and he wants to be cured of his vampirism, but it turns out, there's that's not exactly sincere, and he has other intentions. So that's kind of what's going on in this movie. Kind of, it's another one that mixes two different worlds. And then you also have Frankenstein comes up in this film as well. This is, the one that came out right after House of Frankenstein a year later. And so there is continuity there. Like I said, I wish I would have watched them in order because I saw House of Frankenstein probably last year around this time, so I don't remember exactly what all went down in that, but I know there is continuity going on a little bit with that. But either way, you can enjoy the films all the same on their own. Overall, I thought it was a pretty, solid, fun watch. I find these movies to be pretty easy to watch in general. They're all pretty short and they're very atmospheric. I really enjoy it. I watched this last night just laying in my bed at nights with all the lights out, and it was just a very comforting thing to watch. The black and whites on these Blu-rays, it just looks really great, really crisp and clear, so I enjoyed that. Of course, this is one where Dracula is played by a different actor than Bela Lugosi, and who is that? James Carradine, something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not very versed in my old timey actors, but I believe that's correct, and I think he does a good job. He's pretty creepy and sinister looking. Obviously doesn't look anything like Bela Lugosi, but he has his own sort of demeanor. He's kind of like a thinner guy, older looking, and I think he does well with the parts. Of course, I think the original Dracula is iconic, and it's one of my favorites, so there's not really much comparison there, but I think he does a good job in the role. And of course you have Lon Chaney Jr., who reprises the role of the Wolfman, and he's great in that role as well. He's just a very tragic character, and he really conveys sadness in his expressions very well. You definitely get that with the Wolfman, and you get the same thing going on here, and he's just kind of like a defeated character. There's a part in the film where there is a sort of what looks to be an animal attack, and he's, kind of like, oh, of course, you all assume it was me, and it's just kind of a very depressing type of situation. Dracula, I think, I always like the whole vampire turned bat thing. You don't really see that in, modern day vampire films, really at all, but I like how it looks when he does turn into a bat and then back into a person. The bat itself doesn't really look realistic. It can look kind of silly at times, but in this movie in particular, I thought the sort of simple effect of him, morphing into a bat and then back into himself was pretty solid. The way they do the Wolfman and some other effects in here are very just, what do you call that? Not stop motion, but where it kind of fades into I don't know, is that the word? That's not the word, I don't think, but it morphs, I guess, where he gets more and more hair and stuff like that. There's another scene in here where a body becomes a skeleton, and it does the same thing. It looks a little cheesy, not gonna lie, and I think that's kind of a known thing for these films, but again, I can't really knock it. That's the best they really had to work with in these times in terms of effects, and I think that they were creative with how they did it, so there's that. You know, I don't think these movies are overly scary or anything like that, but like I said, I think they're very comforting, great ones to watch around Halloween time, definitely. You know, I think if you haven't watched these or you're not as familiar with them like myself, this is probably the best time of year to go ahead, crack into these and check them out, especially late at night, and if it's a rainy night or something like that, that just adds to it all the more. So yeah, all in all, I thought House of Dracula was pretty solid. Like I said, I can't really compare it to the other films in terms of quality, but from just basing it on this watch, thought it was a really good, easy watch. It's also only 67 minutes long. I expected it to be a little bit longer than that, because it seems like these do get a little longer as they go along, but you know, it's a very fast in and out watch. It's not going to take up a lot of your time, so I recommend it if you know, can stomach, I guess, older films. Of course, these are classics though, so like I said, they're pretty easy to watch. And yeah, guys, that'll do it. The reason I watched this one is because I'm trying to sort of follow along with the 22 shots challenge that JP puts out every year as well. I always attempt to like incorporate that and almost in a way do like 2 versions of 31 days. So some of them will be in video form, some of them I'm gonna write up little reviews on my Instagram, which is creepycarly317 if you want to check that out. But because I'm not going to do all Blu-rays, I'm going to try to do some 2021 films and stuff like that as well. But anyway, yeah, so this one I would give this a 7 out of 10. I think it's, you know, not the best in the world, but not horrible at all by any means. So I think 7 out of 10 is a fair rating for House of Dracula. Thank you guys once again for joining me here for day number 3, and I'll see you tomorrow for day number 4.